All Things Eastern. I'm your host, Patty Dobson, and we have a really special guest with us this evening. With me today is Lone Star Conference Commissioner Stan Wagnon, and he is going to talk to us about public relations and share with us some of his experiences during his college career that helped him get to where he is today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here.
You did a fabulous job in the Intro to PR class today. They just sat there transfixed by you. So why don't you, if you would, share with our audience some of your own personal story, your journey through higher education, and then talk about how you landed in such a big position.
Yeah, sure. Well, I enjoyed being with the students today and telling a little bit about my story, and really, you know, I do have a degree in journalism with the emphasis in public relations, and part of what I told the students was that, you know, I really wasn't passionate necessarily about journalism, but I saw what I was passionate about, and then I saw that a journalism degree and an emphasis on public relations would be helpful for me to attain a job in a field that I was passionate about. And for me, that's sports. I grew up the son of an athletic director, and so I traveled around quite a bit with the teams and got a lot of special opportunities that most people don't get, you know, behind the scenes moments of going in the team locker room and being on the sidelines and going in the press box and that type of deal. And it really instilled in me a desire to be a part of the team and to really, you know, have the camaraderie, but also to enjoy pulling for our team and being a rival with the other team and kind of get involved in that whole school spirit type of environment. And so obviously working in college sports allows you to kind of keep that adrenaline flowing, if you will. And so I've enjoyed that aspect. And I felt like, you know, as I looked at the different opportunities, and one of the things I shared with the students today was, you know, I looked at coaching and I gave that a try and realized pretty quickly that wasn't for me. And I looked at athletic training and realized, you know, you're spending way too much time in a book for me to be able to do that. And so I figured out that sports information, which is basically the PR agents for college athletics, I figured that was something that I could do and got involved. And the more I got involved, the more I recognized how journalism and public relations and studying that would help me to be equipped to excel in that field. And so that's the path I took. I worked at my alma mater, University of Central Oklahoma. My first job out of college was at Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls, Texas, as a sports information director. Went to Tarleton State in Stephenville, and then I've been with the Lone Star Conference since 2003 and commissioner since 2007. And so what we talked about in the classroom today was how, you know, being committed to journalism and public relations in the college setting and getting equipped with all the tools and the necessary skills, and then transferring them to my entry-level jobs and being aware of opportunities along the way and continuing to grow and develop, and how all of that really is still in use today, even though I'm not working necessarily, certainly in the field of journalism. What I am doing as commissioner, even though I'm a leader and basically the chief officer for our conference, I'm still very involved in communicating and being a PR agent for the conference, a spokesperson. And so everything that I've learned and everything that I've done along the way is helping me to accomplish my job here today.
Now, we have not, you know, forget the sports, but we do have a similar start in that you had some time as a stringer, and I did too. And, you know, that's how you worked your way into an entry-level position at a newspaper. It wasn't that you were hired first, but you started as a stringer. So if you would you share some of that experience with us?
Yeah, and that was really some great advice that I got when I was in college. Started working for the sports information director there on campus, and he said, you know, if you're going to work in this field, you have to know how to write. And so that was great advice. And so I took that seriously. He gave me opportunities to write there in the office. But he also said, you know, you need to go and approach a small newspaper and just tell them you'd be willing to go cover small high school sporting events, because they want to cover all these things, just don't have enough people to do it. And so I did that, and it was there that I realized you know, as a sports reporter, you really don't have a whole lot of things to fall back on. You're the only one there working for yourself.
It's you.
Yeah, and you've got to be aware of your surroundings and get all the details, and you've got to capture the story and relay it through your writing. And so that's a little bit different than what I was used to in the college setting, because at a university game, you know, there's going to be a full-time employee that's there keeping statistics and doing a running play-by-play, and even if you're not paying attention, they're going to hand you a packet of information that you can basically use that to do your job at the end of the game.
Right.
That doesn't happen at a small high school event. And so it really taught me to be responsible. It taught me that I'm going to have to really take the bull by the horns, if you will, and get this done myself. And that was a little bit out of my comfort zone. I had to go find the coach after the game and come up with the questions, ask the questions, be attentive enough to write down the quotes, and then go and piece all that into the story. And so it was a real well-rounded and impressionable type of experience for me, and as I was learning about journalism. And what I shared with the students this morning is it also told me that I'm not sure I want to be a sports reporter, you know, which I don't think is a bad thing. You know, there's all kinds of different ways you can be involved in public relations or in journalism. The reason that it didn't resonate with me was I was telling someone else's story, and going back to wanting to be a part of the team and wanting to pull for the team, I really enjoy telling my team's story rather than someone else's. And so, you know, to each his own. It was a great experience, and it was something that I could put on my resume, and it proved to the people that I was trying to get a job with that, you know, I've been out, I've been on my own writing stories, I know how to cover an event and get the job done. And so all in all, it was a great experience.
One of the things that I hear a lot from students is, why do I have to learn how to write news? Because I'm going to be in PR and news means nothing to me. I don't need to know that.
Yeah, well, I think there's some fundamental aspects of writing a story or writing a letter or whatever you're writing that really, you know, are transferred across all different fields. And so writing a news story you're going to go about that strategically the same way that you would write a sports story or any other field, because you want to make sure that the very first thing you put in that story is the right, you got to get the story started on the right path. And if it's, you know, an AP style story, you better tell the basic part of what's going to be in this story in that first sentence. And so that's going to be the same no matter what you're writing about. And, you know, the thing that I learned in my college experience in journalism classes was, let's get the most important stuff covered first, and then let's work our way through this in kind of a systematic manner. And then if there's something that, you know, you could leave it out of the story, you know, take it or leave it, make sure that that's at the bottom of the story, because there's a chance that editor, once you turn the story in, they're going to leave
hack.
it.
Yeah, they start hacking.
And so you want to make sure you really compartmentalize your story in a way that can be edited by someone else, but also in a way that makes sense to the reader. Because, you know, not every reader is going to spend, you know, a whole lot of time on every story, but a good writer can overcome that by giving them the basis of the story early, and then all the details for those who are interested as they read through the story.
I tell students a lot too that their lead is the contract that they have with the readers.
That's it.
And that whatever they say in the lead, everything after that has to relate back to that. Otherwise, they've broken the contract with their readers.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And, you know, it's hard for some people to grasp that concept, but it really is a thing of beauty when people do, because it's, you know, as someone that has been through those studies and has learned that, you know, when you pick up a newspaper like this and you read someone who gets it, it really is refreshing to see that they understand, but it's also refreshing to read it because it makes sense to you in your head as a reader.
If you had to give one piece of advice to up-and-coming public relations practitioners, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, I think my advice would be to mind the details. You know, I think that too often, and especially now that it's kind of a social media and a texting type of a world, that, you know, it's okay to misspell a word if it's shorter, and it's okay to use an abbreviation and things of that nature. You know, when I'm looking at a resume come across my desk, I'm looking for details. I want to make sure that they get it, that they understand. They're handing a piece of paper for me to basically be introduced to them.
Right.
And so did they take the time to make sure it's formatted correctly? Does it look presentable? Is all the information correct? Did they address me by my proper name? Did they say that they're applying for the job title according to the job title that we listed? And so I think the details is the main thing. I mean, obviously I think it's important to be able to write and to communicate verbally as well. But if you can get the details, the rest will come into place.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe that we're already at the end of our 10 minutes. It went like that.
It did.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us. This is All Things Eastern. I'm your host, Patty Dobson, and we will see you next time.